is us here at Kind of Sort of Maybe podcast. I think that's the name because I made it the name, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's how it works, I guess. No, so we're here in on location in FAR, and so we're just kind of trying this new area out. There's AC, which is a really cool thing, cool technology. I don't know if you've heard of it, but we're here. And we're trying a new setup, so we'll see how the audio sounds. But today we got a special topic that we're going to talk about, and it's something that's very close to one of us's hearts. And actually, it's growing on me,
He's not
like
kidding.
like an infection. Hopefully, I'm recording. Yeah, I'm recording.
Infection.
A really cool sounding infection.
Okay.
No, but it's really cool. We're talking about Hamilton right here. So. Yeah, we're here at the library, and they actually have books, which is really cool. And they have this book. I saw it on the way out yesterday. So yeah, again, and I should have introduced ourselves. My name's Jim Zavala.
Claudia and Jim.
Melinda.
She doesn't have a last name, remember that?
I don't.
So yeah, you'll probably be seeing some things coming up on the screen as far as our
Social media
handles. Some of us, yeah. She's fortunate enough to have Melinda Lene, you got Claudia V. Lemus.
You found it on my Twitter, right?
I found it on your Twitter.
Yeah, because I was like, is that really my handle? And
it
like,
really was. I had to
yes,
double check it. And I'm Jim Z3. So yeah, you can find us on Twitter there. But yeah, let's get started. Hamilton, it's pretty cool. I heard it on your recommendation. I saw the Book of Mormon in Chicago this summer, and I really liked it. And you wouldn't stop talking about Hamilton since we met you.
Yep.
Since you got hired.
And
in my interview.
every day.
In your interview.
My interview.
If
Did
we
she
knew.
really?
No.
I'm like, whoa.
She probably quoted it. We didn't know at the time. But no, she really, talked Hamilton up. And I was doing a project at home, and I finished Book of Mormon again. And I was looking for something else, and on her recommendation, I listened to Hamilton, and it's really good. So, and Claudia, just, we were kind of judging her, watching her reaction.
She just
towards
finished
the-
like 5 minutes before the podcast, so
Yeah.
it's fresh in her mind, I
It's
think.
fresh in her mind. And I've only listened to it twice, and I started again kind of to get into hyped up for this podcast. So I really like it. I don't know if you want to start with your rundown here.
For the record, hold up. Melinda has heard this for 5 times? How many times have you listened to the...
5 times?
Oh,
really?
hon, no. I've listened to the entire musical in the multiple dozens of times, because I've been obsessed with this musical since last October, I think. So it's almost a year that I've known about the musical, and obviously it came out before then, but yeah, it's been about a year since I've been listening to it on a daily basis. So
Yeah, I've listened to it once.
Yeah, you'll hear Melinda quote Hamilton, and now I'm picking up the references, so it's pretty cool.
I think my Hamilton references are to your Seinfeld references.
Daily-based Seinfeld references on a daily basis. So Hamilton, yeah, I accidentally say a word and it triggers something in your mind, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool,
Just,
though.
yeah, and it goes
witnessed
to
this.
show how much the what?
I've witnessed this.
Yeah. And no, I mean, and you don't know, but I know.
But in your heart. Oh,
Let's
did I
let
do
them,
something?
Let's let them know what we know.
Let's
Yeah,
let them
that's
know.
Hamilton.
Go for it. All right, is there anywhere you want to start off at?
I don't know. I mean, just first thoughts, what did y'all think when you first listened to it? What do you remember the first songs? Was it the very first one that you listened to?
It was I listened to it in sequential order. Was fortunate, I guess. So the soundtrack, just from the beginning, I was working on a project at home, and I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I listen to a lot of podcasts. So when I'm working on something, I like to occupy, I always tell you, my brain turns off. And I'm doing my manual thing. My brain knows how to do the thing, but then I'm totally engrossed and focused on what I'm listening to. So Hamilton was awesome. And like I said, it's just telling a story for me, and it was just second nature. And I completely saw the characters without I had never seen any of the characters or the actors in the play. So it was just, I didn't know what to expect. And then I heard the voices, and I was like, wow, this is probably an African-American, actor. And the rapping and just the whole vibe of it, I was really impressed with it. And it was so different. I've never, I'm new to musicals, new to plays. So this was, I didn't know what to expect. And I was really surprised. And I loved it.
To me, it was kind of like I felt like the characters in history books that we've been made to like listen to and learn about like kind of came to life. And the whole time I was thinking, man, had I listened to this musical in high school, freshman year, I would have probably had an A the whole time in history. I would have been like, oh, I know who this dude is. Like,
exactly.
I mean, obviously the entire thing is not entirely historically accurate, but for the most part the big points are true, so you could have used it as a basis if if you were in high school and U.S. history, or even in 8th grade when you're taking U.S. history.
And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh man, I totally see my little brothers like picking up on this and liking it and going through the system and knowing more a little bit about it. I would have liked to like have listened to it earlier. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's one thing. Just to add to that, I think this is going to open up a whole new. I mean, hopefully in the classrooms, a lot of teachers can probably use this to teach, make it a little more interesting, and really.
Not the entire thing, because there are some explicit words.
There's some explicit words.
But yeah, I mean, they could totally use this to get people, as excited history as I am. So.
And it was funny too. There's a lot of humor in it, and a lot of times when like somebody would diss somebody, and it's like, dang, and I had the same reaction, and they are actually doing that too, So, did you want to go? What did you think actually the first time?
Okay, so the first time I didn't listen. The very first time I listened to it, it wasn't the first song, which is Alexander Hamilton. The first song that I listened to was, I believe, was it Washington on Your Side, or was it, what was the song you were listening to?
Meet Me Inside.
That one. Okay. So no, it was Washington on Your Side or Meet Me Inside.
It Must Be Nice. It Must Be Nice.
No, I thought you were like, Must Be Nice.
No. It's a song, yeah.
Must Be Nice.
So it was either Washington on Your Side or Meet Me Inside. So it was one of the ones that was about Washington. It was, the first ones where they introduced Washington.
Okay.
And
I
was driving to work, my previous job, not the one that we have now, and it just popped up on, because I am an avid Broadway musical listener. I listen to that. That's what I listen to. And so it popped up in my Broadway playlist on Pandora.
Sure.
So that was the first song that came out. And so that one has a lot of, and so when I finished listening to it, I was hooked. So the moment I got home after work, it was probably like 1 a.m, and I just listened to the entire soundtrack, because I was hooked from that one song. But yeah, so that was my first Hamilton experience.
Wow.
I don't know if you're aware. There, one time we were at the office, and you were talking about Hamilton, and there was an old commercial. I don't know if you know this. There's a famous. It's funny because it's a milk commercial. Did you ever hear about this?
I don't know.
Okay, so this commercial, what it is there's a guy, and he's eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or just peanut butter. And there's a phone call on the radio, and he calls. I think he's on a phone hotline thing, and there's a famous painting, and that's the whole thing. Like in the famous painting with who shot Alexander Hamilton?
Yeah,
and the guy was like,
yeah.
He can't say it, and so that stuck with me like forever. I mean, that's the most history I've ever learned.
I remember what you're talking about when I was talking to Danny about Aaron Burr, who spoilers is a person who
man. I'm not done yet.
who shoots and kills Hamilton in a duel. And so I had asked Danny, shout out, because Danny also wanted a shout out. I was talking to him about the history behind it and everything that goes into it. And so I asked him, do you know who killed Alexander Hamilton? And you were coming out of your office, you're like, Aaron Burr.
Yeah, I ruined it. Dang it. So you'll never know. Yeah, but that was a super famous commercial, and that was really cool, like how that stuck with me. So, and I had pretty bad history teachers. No, I didn't. But I wish they kind of, dived in a little deeper at that point in education, because I really like that. But I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if you had ever seen that or heard of that.
Yeah. I think I watched it, obviously within the last few months.
Okay.
But I think I've watched, I think it was, it was, no, I don't even remember. But I know that I watched it on YouTube. It's out there.
That's cool.
We watched it in class, no? Marketing?
I didn't take marketing.
I remember Dr. Silver, shout out.
How much are you getting paid for this?
I know, right?
The shout out.
She played it for us. Like, it was a Super Bowl commercial or something.
That's what I'm saying.
Was
it?
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. I think I listened to it in class with Godinez.
Or
we're
Molines.
listening to
Shout out
Molines.
Wow.
This entire thing is sponsored.
I need to get on this, you know. So
Yeah.
shout out.
Yeah, I think
Side business that you have.
that's how I remember it. I
$20.
think she was showing us different Super Bowl commercials, and that was one that she showed us.
Okay.
She might have been one too. Yeah. It was a good commercial.
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean,
peanut butter.
and I drank milk after that, like all the time, so it worked.
Marketing, it works.
It works. Yeah, some other things. I guess any other.
Do you have a favorite song or lyric
Ooh,
that
let me pull up my notes.
stands out? Yeah, you guys wrote notes.
Schuyler sisters.
The Schuyler sisters.
I just thought that they were so cool, and I was trying to figure out their conflict. I guess I would have to listen to it one more time to kind of figure it
one
out.
more time.
Because I felt like Angelica was kind of jealous.
One last time, but
Yeah, well, it's my bad. 2 times.
You tried. Nerds.
What? Nerds?
Nerds.
Do you know that you're on a video podcast talking about... Okay. Yeah. So the Schuyler sisters was pretty cool. Yeah, there was a lot of things where the first time through, I didn't know like who is who. Kind of the second time through, I was like, okay, Eliza marries Hamilton. Like that was a little hard to follow because you've never seen the show. I've never seen the show.
Hearing voices.
I'm hearing voices, and they sound different, but. The whole thing. Then the second time through, I'm like, okay, so Eliza marries Hamilton, and then you have in the Schuyler sisters, which is really funny. We talked about it in the vehicle, where it's like Eliza, then it's Angelica and Peggy, which is really funny because they kind of throw that and Peggy, which is really funny. You really don't hear about her anymore after that song.
No, well, and the thing about this play is a lot of the characters from the first half of the play are reused for the second half of the play.
Oh, okay.
So like Lafayette is played by Thomas Jefferson. You know,
I didn't know that was the same dude.
actor plays Thomas Jefferson. Hercules Mulligan, he plays
cool.
Madison. Yeah. And so Peggy, she plays Mariah Reynolds, who is the one who had the affair with Hamilton. Yeah. So
secret affair. Or
and also
blackmailed.
Philip. So his son, that is John Lawrence at the beginning. So they're all, for the most part, all of them are going to play a second half if they die or whatever happens in the first half. In the second, they're still there.
She's really read that, huh?
Yeah.
Really.
No, so that's the thing. With that was really cool with the sisters. So the whole affair between the whole Angelica like loving Hamilton, that was pretty cool. So I didn't get that the second time. There's a line in that song, I think, where they're getting married. I don't know what song that was. Satisfied, yes, where she says, keep them in my eye or something like that.
At least he made Eliza his bride. At least I keep his eyes in my life.
There you go.
So even though she's not with him, she still gets to be in his presence, throughout their life. Which, in real life, I guess the timing is different because in history, Angelica by the time she was married already. Yeah, but when they met, they did have that immediate connection. So they always did have that like flirty when they would write letters to each other.
Sure.
And it's still those letters still exist.
Sancha.
Angelica was the original Sancha. Yeah.
There you go. Sister Sancha. Ooh, that's like a novella right there, right? That's like the stuff that Claudia watches all the time.
I think there should be another play written, just saying.
Maybe.
You can rent that one right there.
That one. Yeah.
So that's really cool. There was one thing with the letters that you mentioned, the comma. There was a song later on where it's like where that comma was placed. What is it? My dearest, Angelica.
Yeah. So that actually did happen in real life, and the letters are there to prove it.
And that's when Eliza kind of is like, like,
yeah.
What's going
Well,
on
the
here?
thing is, it was the opposite in the play. It's I think so it's Hamilton that writes the letter, and that's when she asks like I don't know if you put that comma there on purpose or what. In real life, in history, it's Angelica who writes a letter to Hamilton with the comma, and so he replies to her and he says, "My dearest sister," because technically they're brother and sister-in-laws. You did this. I don't know if you just made a grammatical error or what's behind it, but either way, I want to know. love your cousin or your
brother-in-law, pretty much,
Hamilton,
yeah.
and whatever, stuff like that. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That's interesting. Didn't know that. Yeah, but that's really cool. That whole relationship between them in the musical and the play was really awesome. I think one of my favorite songs, I think we talked about it earlier. We tried not to. Again, we ignored each other. And every time Hamilton would come up, we're like, oh, we got to wait until Tuesday.
Save it for the podcast.
So the whole, I mean, there's a lot of songs that I really liked about this play. But one that was really funny was the King George. That first one where he comes in,
You'll be back.
Yeah, You'll Be Back. It was like, and I picked it up. I was like, oh man, this is like a song to an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's what he wanted when he wrote that. He's like, I want it to be a breakup letter to America. Like, he is just the angry boyfriend who's upset about about that breakup between, Great Britain and America. But yeah,
I love that line.
That approach.
I'll send, fully, what is it?
Troops.
Yeah, battalions, and then like I'll kill your family, and it's really funny. So it was a lot of the humor
but to
that was
remind
in there.
you of my love.
Yeah, of course, he loves America.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. That was a really funny one. Oh man, the ones that were really the George Washington, like his first appearance, I guess, it was really cool, really powerful, really cool music.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think of all the all of them are just so. I don't think there was a single character that I disliked, because even Aaron Burr, who
he was awesome.
He was an antagonist.
Yeah.
And I still loved him, There's no one in the play that I disliked, and even just everybody in the play. But Washington, I think he's up there in my list of my favorite characters. I loved every song he came out in, and just his voice, the actor who plays him was just phenomenal. Like I love I think every Washington song was just so powerful.
Yeah, I agree. That was really cool. And of course, like you mentioned, Aaron Burr, the Aaron Burr Sir was just so great. And that's like the second song, right?
Yeah, that's the second song, and he used that when he wrote the play throughout the entire thing. So to the very end, they used that like
Burr Sir.
Burr Sir as an ongoing rhyme throughout the entire.
That's another thing this play did very well. The whole callbacks, like the second time around, I'm like, oh wow! Even the counting of that whole thing, 1, 2, 3, the 10 dual commandments, and that song was really cool too, where they showed you in the beginning of the 10 rule commandment, the 10 dual commandments. And then later on, they're going through that process, twice, right?
Yeah, it was foreshadowing, because the first time was between John Lawrence and Robert Lee, who, as we know in history, was basically the way he was portrayed in the play. And so they did the duel, and so John Lawrence shoots John Lee, and so he leaves. He's out. But in history, and they explain it. You have to have your seconds.
Sure.
So the seconds in that case were Hamilton and Burr,
Yeah.
So it was, and they were both, they're like, oh,
right?
what, we're doing this, what are we doing? This is so childish. Can we both agree that duels are, dumb, and, they don't accomplish anything. And it's just foreshadowing what's going to happen to them, because they ended up in a duel.
Is that the definition of irony?
You would say, one would say, yes, yeah.
So that was really cool. That was awesome. The duel, the rules of the duel. I butchered that. I make that up. It rhymes, It rhymes. It's for the sequel.
Okay.
But that
Hamilton 2, the return of
Hamilton. This time it's personal or something.
Hamilton Sancho's right back.
What? With the Sanchos. Always with the Sanchos.
Pablo.
Oh, another shout out. Dang it. You're at what? Like $25 or something? 30?
3.
Yeah, that was really cool. I like that. Of course, where George Washington brings in Hamilton, meet me inside, right? That was really good. And, the whole disrespect.
Don't call me son.
Don't call me son.
That really did happen.
Really?
And in this, it was just like, oh, go home, Alexander. It's an order from your commander, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it. In real life, they got into like a fight. So they didn't talk for a long time. I don't know how, the exact amount of time, but I mean, that exact incident didn't happen, but something similar with that same aspect, Hamilton, Washington was trying to protect Hamilton, and he didn't go for that. And so Hamilton got upset, he yelled at him, and they got into a fight. But obviously it worked out, because Washington later asked him to be the first Secretary of Treasury. But yeah, a lot of this is based on historical facts, and it's just amazing to me.
And another one of those callbacks, I actually wrote it here, so like proof. I actually wrote it.
I don't think they
You
can
can't
see.
They can't see. Zoom in, pinch,
Zoom in.
and zoom.
Pinch and zoom.
So, one of the callbacks, the Stay Alive was also another one. That
Stay
was
Alive
at the
reprise, yeah.
It was in the beginning,
Yeah.
and then it came, like, obviously at the end, which is really cool. And I
Yeah.
think one of my favorite parts in the whole play is when his mother is singing to his son, trying to do the French. The man, that was so cool. It was so powerful.
Yeah.
And I think one of the times where it like brought tears,
Did you all cry throughout the play? Like, honestly, full
there
disclosure.
I think there was 2 times where I did. Yeah, it was a whole.
You
it was pretty
monsters,
powerful.
just 2 times.
There might have been another one. There was just a lot more. Was like I said, it was like, dang,
Just
I can't
like,
believe.
my heart.
Yeah, there was. I think the strongest one, and I'm a dad, so maybe I put myself in that position
Yeah.
of losing your son, and I think.
Even for Dear Theodosia, which is
that one is.
I would think that you would relate to that one more. That's the one where Aaron Burr is singing to his new daughter Theodosia, and he's saying, like, we do all this for you, like all of this happens for you. And because I think that, and I think my dad, I'm like, and I feel like as the oldest, my dad or my parents would have maybe thought that, but everything, the struggles or whatever you go through as a beginning parent, but you do it for your child.
I might have missed that. When did that happen? During.
So Dear Theodosia is, if we take out our
Hamilton.
handy Hamilton.
I can't move anything.
Okay. Okay. So Dear.
This is not a real book.
It's a prop. It's a prop. So Dear Theodosia. Let's see.
It's Melinda's diary.
It's actually my diary. Yes, guys. Where is it?
Yeah, I was listening to that one this morning, and I was like doing my hair, and the music just really gets to you, and it has a little kind of a lullaby, right? It sounds kind of
that
like
one
a
does.
lullaby.
Okay.
It's really sweet.
Yeah.
So
he sings. Oh yeah. So it's after What Comes Next, which is another one sung by King George, and then before Tomorrow There'll Be More of Us.
Oh, is that when? Who is it? What comes next?
Which one? What comes next?
Yeah. Which one?
That's after they win the revolution.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so he's like,
yeah.
What comes next? You've been freed.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do now?
And what's one of the lines? Is it? No, does he say that? Winning is easy, governing is harder.
That King George says.
Yeah. Does he say that?
No, that Washington says.
Washington says that.
Yeah,
Because
he tells that's after Cabinet Battle number 2.
Oh, okay.
And
which
so
is awesome.
Hamilton is very upset because, and a lot of this is relevant now that it's election year. It's campaigns and stuff, because he's basically saying, you know what, I do have an idea, and it's a good one, it's a strong one, but they just don't like me, so they don't want to vote for what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so
It's like sticking to their guns.
Yeah, he's just
right.
And so he's like, they don't have any ideas, they just hate mine.
Yeah.
And so Washington's like, well, that's easy, but this is a part of government that's the hard part, is getting people to agree with you and stuff like that. So I think it's relevant, especially now.
Yeah, no, that's true. There's a lot of callbacks. You can see one of the big lines, and you always see it being highlighted. What is it? We immigrants. What's the line?
That's one of okay.
Get it done.
Yeah, immigrants.
Did you high five anybody or high five yourself?
Immigrants, we get the job done.
Yeah, there
so
you go.
Good.
I've seen that. Yeah, on YouTube.
One of my favorite of the entire 2.5 hour play. That's one of my favorite lines. Like, even now, every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, so good. So good.
Make sure you're doing that.
Yeah. Well, remember, I made you watch that. Remember, it was after the Tonys, and I was with Danny, and so they did that song. And so when I showed it to you, I'm like, Claudia, watch this. It's so good.
Yeah, I remember.
What were you doing? You're like,
She was like,
I was not.
On Facebook.
No, because I remember, I don't know, if Univision did an article on it, and I had read a little bit about it, because they actually touch up on that. It's like a really important issue.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And again, important now. It's relevant now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Coming back. One of the other lines that I liked, and I always butcher these things. I think it's dying is easy. No, I think it's like, what does he say? Dying is easy. Living is hard.
Living is harder.
Yeah, young man is what I didn't catch, I think, because my speakers are really bad in my truck. Yeah. But through headphones are awesome, but I missed that. So it's dying is easy, young man.
Living is harder.
Living is harder. Yeah. Is that a real quote? Or is this just made up?
Washington?
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to look that
I
up.
don't
I should have Googled this before,
I don't
but
know.
that was really good. If it is, that was really
Yeah.
really powerful. I think I said it to you one day. You were having kind of a bad day.
Yes, on
one day.
Saturday.
And I was like,
You quoted?
yeah, I did.
And I'm over here like, oh, thanks.
You were just ripping on
I
Hamilton.
deleted George Washington and put Jim Zalala. That's mine. So he said young man. I just said Dinah's easy.
Okay.
There you go. So it's an original now. Trademarked.
Trademark.
That's how it works,
Official.
right? That's
Yeah,
how it
it's
works.
official. That's how
Okay.
it works.
And they use a lot of those themes like throughout the songs, right? Because they use that one, and then towards the end they put dying is, the winning is easy, governing is harder. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
It kind of comes back,
kinda
and you
repeats it.
pick it up. You'll
Yeah.
pick it up
Yeah.
again. That's one thing. So I haven't on this playthrough. Nope. Playthrough. I guess I need to actually go through and probably look at the notes.
Do it with this. It is so much
the real
better. And I'm sure anyone who's read this book will tell you that because it has his footnotes as
Yeah.
he was writing it, and you learn that he didn't write them all in order. He wrote one of them, the Best of Wives, Best of Women. That's the fastest song it took him to write. It took him 40 minutes. And he just based that on his wife, his own wife. You know, he's a new, not that new, but he's kind of a new husband, and he's a new dad and stuff. So he said that after a lot of the songs that he wrote, so many of them were so much harder to sing after he became a family, a family man and stuff. But I totally lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was saying. How did this start? Oh,
yeah, the notes.
Yeah. So the day that this was released, by then I had listened to it, 200 times.
Yeah.
But I did it again. I sat down on a Saturday morning and I just listened to it again. So I would read the chapter before, and then would have the lyrics and how it came through and stuff. But it's just amazing the way the mind of an artist works, because that's what he is. He wrote this play, this musical, the lyrics, the music, everything came from his brain, and that is just so amazing to me. To put this together.
A lot of talent. That's a lot of talent in these
Yeah.
songs and the way it's written. It's really cool, and you can see the creative process. I hope I press something. Test.
Mid podcast.
Mid podcast. No.
Technical difficulties. Graphic.
No, I think we're okay. Let's see. So yeah, that was cool. And the same thing. I had the questions about: was it an affair? Did he ever act with Angelica? Did he ever have an official affair? Look, Claudia's getting angry.
Sancha.
You can't trust women
his-
and men.
So anybody?
Oh my god.
Brain.
Yeah. So that's
Giving him the glare.
regular. Even through YouTube,
Through
giving him
YouTube.
the evil eye. Careful.
All the men out there.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So was that accurate? And I don't know what
Is
that
it
blinking
recording?
is. I don't know.
Did it stop recording?
I think it did.
I think
Maybe.
we ran out of our 2 chips, our space.
Shut up.
Uh-oh.
All right. Audio podcast.
Audio
Woo!
podcast, yeah.
Well, we got to come back. Let's check this out. So let's take a short break and check our levels and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Hey, yeah, so we're back. So it turns out that since it's our second podcast, we actually had a little bit of a technical issue. Someone forgot to format the video card.
Not me.
No, yeah, I didn't. Melinda is her name.
I
So
wasn't anticipating us talking that much.
Yeah, so
Well,
send your
I should have.
tweets, your angry tweets to...
At Melinda Lene. I love all tweets.
there
Send them
you
my
go.
way.
Some constructive feedback. So hopefully it works out. We'll probably have... I think we only lost around 10 minutes.
Which is a
Yes.
lot, I think, in Melinda talk.
Yes. Yeah, there was a
Because
lot
I
of
talk
cool...
fast.
So we'll just have like a still of us just pretending to talk. Yeah, it'll just be a loop. Anyway, so we're back. I think we're going to go a little bit, kind of Melinda has a rundown, so she'll kind of walk us through. Or
before
what do you got?
I do anything, because, surprise, I want to do pop quiz.
Oh my
Of
goodness.
course.
The history teacher in my soul wants to do that. But is there anything else you all want to talk? You wrote notes. I haven't heard any of your notes yet.
Well, I wanted to talk about the ending, but I feel like we're not there yet. Like, what did you guys think about the last song?
It was really cool. I
The
mean,
one you weren't crying in?
Yes, that
Oh,
one.
that was very emotional. That was very powerful too. Yeah, that last song was really cool. Just kind of highlighted everything that he did, the legacy. I think there was a song about legacy, which is really
legacy.
cool.
What is legacy?
Exactly.
Legacy is planting seeds in a garden you'll never get. Okay, sorry.
Exactly. No, and it's very true. When you think about that, it's like, how important, is that?
Yeah, we never go to experience our own legacy. It happens after the fact.
After the fact.
That's
exactly.
what it is.
I mean, the closest thing I think is, I think like leaving a job. It's kind of.
I think it's retiring.
Retiring too, yeah.
Tim Duncan, shout out my husband.
Oh, another
I'm
shout sure
out.
Mrs. Duncan wouldn't like that.
There's no Mrs. Duncan.
Okay, never mind.
He's my real husband.
The sports ball. So.
It's the orange one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he'd be the closest one. I think because he retired and he didn't tell anybody about it. He just like, oh, I'm not gonna come back next season. So he left everybody like up here. They let everyone. He left on a positive note, I think, for everybody because he didn't have that farewell tour that
everybody gets.
It's Kobe cool. got. Okay, outside. No, NBA podcast to come.
Oh man, can't wait. So what were we talking about? Yes, the legacy, which is really cool. There was a lot of cool stuff. It's hard to just bring it all together and pick your favorite things, but that was a really cool one. Just made you think a lot. One of the funniest things I just want to mention before I forget is the whole spy, the Hercules Mulligan. Is that his name?
Yeah, that was a real thing.
That was a real thing.
He
and
was,
I love when he just like, I can imagine him just coming on Hercules.
I
think there's some explicit lyrics in there.
Yeah.
But it's really funny.
Just a tad, but
just a tad. It was, I think there's a, So
he was a spy in history. He was a tailor, so a tailor's apprentice. So British officers would often go to get their not costumes. What did they wear?
I think they were called costumes. Right, yeah.
Their costumes to get their uniforms tailored, and so they'd have conversations, and it's actually because of that a huge one where he overheard them talking about how they were planning to kidnap George Washington. He overheard that. He told George Washington. Well, I don't think he physically told him, but he told someone to tell George Washington that they were planning this, and George Washington was able to replan what they did, and he didn't get captured, and they ended up winning that battle because of that. So he actually was, he was a.
Let me ask you something. When you mentioned like he didn't just talk to Washington. How easy was it to get a hold of these guys? Like, it's not like they had like a secret service or anything like that.
No. It was a lot easier. A lot of our founding fathers, I mean, even going up to, Andrew Jackson, a lot of it was just, if you were someone in politics, basically you were able to talk to them, It wasn't, I mean, obviously there are still channels you had to go through and stuff. Like,
he was a general, so.
Yeah, but, I mean, for the most part, you were able to communicate with these men, with these politicians because things were different back then, and you wouldn't think they didn't have to worry about everything that we our present presidents worry about now. But
do you ever think, because do you ever think like if I was there during that time, like what kind of impact that would have, like knowing what you know now? Like, do you think you'd be a founding
okay
mother?
Well, the thing is as a woman, it would have been extremely hard, but obviously I love history. I minored in history, but it's hard as a woman to think back, what I would have wanted to have to done this, to accomplish this, but it was tough because we didn't have the same rights that the men do. But there are a lot of ways to contribute. There was the Daughters of Liberty who, by no means did this, they didn't do the same things, but they did a lot to help in the, in that era. But I would have liked to have been a part of the revolution.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Thinking back, it's like, man, I wonder, you see these people, like I guess in our society, and you see them like, man, these guys are influencers and they're powerful. Would they be, I mean, could I do that? Like, like maybe the leaders or everyday leaders that we see, would they be the generals and they would be the ones kind of sparking this whole revolution? And
I think it's different. They had no one to think back on, and as idols and stuff. They were starting this nation from scratch. They had just come out of revolution, so they're like, and that's why King George. What comes next? What are you gonna do now that you're free? What's gonna happen? So they had to start from scratch, and a lot of things didn't work out. They had the Articles of Confederation. They didn't like that. They reworked it to the Constitution. So they had their mistakes that they had to amend and stuff. But they didn't they weren't there for the power, for the glory. Aside from Burr, who we see a lot in the entire thing, that he didn't want to be a part of the process. He only ran for certain positions because he wanted the power. He wanted to be in the room where it happened, for the sake of being in the room, not because he wanted to accomplish anything. And these men they wanted to do something great for our country, and then they didn't have that legacy. And as George Washington said, he's like, I've given my life to this country because I know, what we can do, what we can accomplish and stuff. But yeah, it's
So speaking of Aaron Burr, how fair do you think this play was to him or to history? Like, how is he portrayed? I know, like, he even mentioned there's a song about it that he's vilified, and this is how you'll read about
the
him.
history, the history books will remember me.
Yeah.
The thing is, we see the human side of him in this because he is a narrator of this play, which you don't see a lot. You would expect Hamilton to be the narrator.
Again, I couldn't see who it was. So that Burr was the one. Kind of wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
That.
Aaron Burr is a narrator throughout the entire play.
Awesome. Yeah,
so that's why we get to see him and care for him. He's the antagonist, and we're still, he has his, he has his daughter, he has his the woman that he loves, but he can't be with. So you feel for him.
Yeah.
And in history, he was a politician, so he did have, those, but he and Hamilton were political enemies. Yeah. They did not get along. And this one, you have him, they're friendly with each other until the very end, until they do that, but they didn't get along. And I think what's the name of the song where they're Nonstop, where they work they're lawyers together.
Oh, yeah.
In real life, they actually did have in the same neighborhood. They both had their law practices. So a lot of the times they did have to contribute. They had to help each other out and stuff, but not happily. They didn't get along.
Yeah, that was really cool. I didn't know about the Aaron Burr being the narrator, but that makes sense. That guy has a great voice, great presence. Awesome.
And he got the Tony for best. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, so I'm new to this, but that's really cool and well deserved.
It was definitely well deserved.
It's awesome. So, anything else you want to mention?
Or
you want
your activity? Do you want more?
No, like the last song, like going back to that, the line "Who tells your story?" I was reading also like right now, and I had found it interesting. Like the person that tells the story pretty much dictates what they're gonna say, right? And so now that you mentioned that Aaron Burr was a narrator, do you think that kind of impacted the whole way the story was told, or not even at all?
Well, a lot of the time, it's different. Like I think throughout the entire thing, the only real time when he narrated was. A lot of the characters had their own times where they narrated. So the song "The Room Where It Happens," which was so good. So he starts off by narrating it, but then he gives it to Thomas Jefferson because in history, the only accounts of what actually happened when they were trying to figure out where our nation's capital was going to be, the only accounts we have in history are Thomas Jefferson's. So he tosses it. He tosses it to Jefferson to tell his story. So that's when he says, I saw him outside Washington's house in disarray, and so I asked him what happened because of that. And so the only one I think that Hamilton really narrates is the one. How to Say No to This, his affair with Mariah Reynolds, because he was the only one that was there when it happened. So it was his account of it. Yeah. So that's why he says, you know what, so he starts off by saying, he's like, but you know what, I'll let him, what does he say? I'll let him tell it. Yeah. So then he starts, I was a mess, I hadn't slept in a week and this and that. But yeah, so they each had,
What was cool about that, it was kind of funny, I mean, how he had all those, receipts of where he had paid the guy for the blackmail in record books and the whole thing, where they're accusing him that, hey, you know what, you're using government funds to pay this guy off. And he's like, no, I have all the receipts that I paid and I've been doing it for this long. So I was really like covering his back as much as he could, really, if that's the true purpose. But it was just, and there was another song right after that mistake that he made. He's like, okay, not going to be president, don't have to worry about that anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah, so Hamilton has always been this amazing writer. At 14 years old, a hurricane came and destroyed the town that he was living in, his hometown in the Caribbean. And so he wrote a poem about the hurricane that destroyed his entire life, basically. And so he sent it in to a newspaper, and it was printed, and the whole entire town, what was left of it, just fell for him. So they raised funds to get him on a ship to passage to America. So they helped him get to America, and so he got here at age 15.
Mm-hmm.
He was a teenager, like he was a baby. I mean, can you imagine what you were doing at age 15?
Exactly.
You know, like we were like watching Hannah Montana. I don't know.
Yeah. Or not.
Or not. I don't know.
Or not.
Hannah Montana.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
But yeah, so he did that, and because of his writing, and so he did that song, Hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'll write my way out. This worked when I was a child. This will work now. So he wrote the Reynolds pamphlets, which ended up backfiring on him because it ruined his political career.
Yeah.
It ruined his family. It messed him up. So it was like the one time in his life that writing backfired. So he was just so confused by it. You know, he was astonished that writing could do that. But I mean, it just shows how much writing, the power writing has.
Yeah, they mentioned so many times about how many articles he wrote or whatever.
51,
cool.
right?
Was it 51?
51.
The articles of the Federalist Papers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was awesome. All right. Well, any other thoughts on that before we move on?
Nope, I'm done. Yeah, that was just really cool.
Pop quiz time?
Okay.
Quiz
It's a
time!
surprise. We did not know this was going to happen.
Okay. Do y'all want to write your answers down, or do you just want to shout them?
I don't have an arm. We can shout them out. What do you
He
think?
can shout them.
Oh, what do you want to do?
They're easy. They're easy. I didn't make a multiple choice because I tried to write them down as easy as I could. So they're not super tough questions, okay guys?
So she
Do we
says.
have to hit a buzzer?
But
Oh, wait, let's not do that. It's going to mess up the
the viewers are gonna be like, okay.
Oh my God, turn this off.
So I don't know.
You
How
gotta
do we do
You gotta
it?
make a noise. What kind of noise are you going to make?
Bzz.
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 I'm just kidding.
Sandra.
Sandra, love yours. Okay. All right.
So do you want to write them down, or do you want to do
No,
a buzzer?
we can do a buzzer and
Buzzer.
answer, I guess. Let's
Okay.
see who wins.
Number 1.
Uh-oh.
What? I'm gonna start you off easy, okay? What bill is Alexander Hamilton on?
It's $10 bill.
Yeah. So it's in the first song, the $10 founding father without a father. So yeah, he's in our $10 bill. He didn't get to be on the bill until 1929, I believe.
Okay.
So the first circulation of the bill, I think the $10 bill was in 1861.
Who was on it before that?
Abe Lincoln.
Oh, really?
Abe Lincoln was
They
our
kicked
first
him
one in
off and
1861.
Put him on the $5 bill.
Yeah, they're like, you don't need to be on the 10.
Burn.
Yeah,
Damn.
so 1861 is first year with Abe Lincoln,
Yeah.
and it changed dozens and dozens of times until the final one in 1929 when it was Hamilton. And he's actually, fun fact, you guys probably don't think it's fun fact,
Is
but
it fun? Is it really
Is
fun?
it really?
I think it's fun. So John Trumbull is the one who did the portrait behind it. He was an artist during the Revolutionary War. And so Alexander Hamilton is the only person in our U.S. American, in our U.S. currency, paper currency that has a left facing portrait.
Okay.
And he's only one of 2 people in our U.S. paper currency that is a non-president,
Yeah.
that wasn't a president.
Fun fact. Who's the other? Ben Franklin.
$100 bill.
There you go.
The scientist.
Sure.
He's an inventor. Yeah, he's an inventor.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So number 2, where was Hamilton born? And you don't have to say the exact island he was born, just an area.
You kind of mentioned it earlier.
I did. I think I've mentioned like all of these questions. So
In the Caribbean.
yeah. So he was born in the island of Nevis. It's an island in the West Indies, which is in the Caribbean. So yeah.
For the record, I might lose. If you haven't noticed already.
What do we win?
A hug.
High five.
A Melinda
High five.
hug.
There you
Like,
go. You
No,
really want
a Melinda
hug.
pet.
When does that
She
ever
loves
happen?
cats.
Oh, okay.
thumbs up. I
Thumbs
think
up is
just
good.
bragging rights.
Bragging
You get
rights.
bragging
There
rights.
you go.
Okay. Number 3. So Alexander Hamilton, as we know, had, and not all of them were mentioned here, but he had a lot of political enemies.
Mhm.
Name 2 in the musical.
Do you want to go first?
Aaron Burr. Woo! Thomas Jefferson at some point. They
Yeah,
were like
there you go.
fighting, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of
Yeah,
fighting.
there was
fighting in there,
tension.
which was really cool.
Good job. Good job. You see? Got a
Oh,
point.
which brought the song? What was it? So what I miss, which is really
So what did I
hilarious.
miss?
So what did I miss?
Such a good song. Yeah,
From
you
Thomas
see this.
Jefferson.
You know, these our founding fathers are fighting in the war.
Oh,
you know, dying and
Thomas
getting.
Jefferson
Thomas Jefferson
comes in.
pops in. He's like,
So
what's going on? Oh, I'm gonna be Secretary of State. Cool.
I was in France.
I was in France.
Yeah.
Yeah, like chilling. Like that's cool. Okay. Y'all know this one. Okay, so Hamilton wrote the Federalist Papers with John Jay and James Madison. They wrote a total of 85 essays. How many did Hamilton write?
51.
Very good.
Yeah. Bonus points. You know the other ones?
5.
It was who?
The first guy you mentioned.
John Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was 33.
29.
29. Never mind.
Math.
Okay.
Not so good.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean the Federalist
crazy.
Papers were amazing, and the fact that he wrote 51 of them, and
Our
so
next
these
podcast, Federalist Papers.
Federalist
Ah.
Papers, yeah, but I don't know if
Revealed.
you've read any of them, but and they actually have the first one that he wrote,
Yeah.
but they're just so interesting to read. The fact that they're defending the Constitution, so these anonymous essays that they wrote under the pseudonym
Yeah. I read that part the other day.
Yeah, and so they were printed across newspapers in New
Mhm.
York, and in 1787, I think. Okay, so anyways, next one. Okay, so Hamilton's oldest son Philip died at age 19.
Mhm.
How?
Gunshot.
Bonus points. Who shot him?
It was. Oh, he was a. Was he an? It wasn't an actor. No, he went to a play. I don't know his name.
No bonus points.
No bonus points.
Okay, yeah. So his name was George Eaker.
Oh yeah.
They didn't mention his age in the play, but in real life, Philip was 19, and so he and his friend went to the play
Mhm.
to confront him. At the time, George Eaker was 29 years old, so he was
Okay.
good 10 years older than
Mhm.
him. And so when they confronted him, they fought at the lobby of the play. It wasn't here. They
Mhm.
made it seem like he was like mid play or whatever.
Sure.
So they met up in the lobby, and so that's when they discussed that they were gonna do the
duel. Yeah.
And so the duel was going to happen about a week, I believe, after their initial confrontation. And so he was going to duel both of them. So he first dueled the friend, and in that one, they both did the missing thing on purpose, which was...
Can you explain a little bit about that? What do you mean, the missing?
So...
Because they used to load their guns. It was like one at a time.
So,
right?
and he talks about, he talks about it.
Yeah.
Hamilton, they say it in the play that, they'll know, it's just like the idea of going to the duel to show that you're a man. Because if you
Mhm.
didn't show up, what
Yeah.
you were, criticized and stuff like that. So just the fact of showing up, but if you, point to the sky, or, they'd often, so you could know or miss on purpose.
Mhm.
But just because you were being
were
a
there.
part of that,
Yeah.
of that thing. So when he did with Philip's friend first, they both did the thing where they missed on purpose. And so when it was Philip's turn, he thought that he was going to do the same thing, and no, he actually shot first. So they didn't even count.
All the way to 10.
Yeah, they didn't even finish counting. He shot before, and so that ended his... He died a few days, afterwards. But
Of infection. They mentioned that
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has been infected. I mean, you really can't tell the time passage,
Yeah.
but they mentioned infection, so obviously it was a couple days later.
Yeah, it was a bit of time afterwards, but yeah, so that was so confusing to people because he was actually upset with the Hamiltons. He disparaged their name and he wanted to kill him.
He was defending his dad, pretty much, yeah. 'cause
Yeah, he
talked
died
bad of him.
defending his dad. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Number 6.
Okay.
Okay. So, how old was he? I already said this. How old was he when they placed him in charge of a trading charter?
Let's say 15. Nope.
You don't want to guess?
17?
14.
Oh.
Was it 14 when he came in there? Oh, that's when he left. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that how so that's how they got him off?
No, well, okay. So I think it's in the play where I feel like this is just like a big history lesson.
Sure.
Yeah, so after his mom died,
Mhm.
he did a lot of jobs here and there, and so he started working, he worked for his mother's landlord, he worked at that trading charter,
Mhm.
and he was extremely smart, he was brilliant, and so they saw that, and so oftentimes his boss would go off, on trips to America and do stuff, So the first time that he placed him in charge, he was 14 years old. And historians think that because he worked in that trading charter, that he saw all the slaves and stuff. He saw their conditions, and that's what made him fight for them, because he saw firsthand what they experienced.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Number 7. What was... All of these are out of order, just FYI.
Okay.
I was just like sitting down like thinking of questions. Okay. In the play, what was Eliza the most proud of? She says this in the last song. Oh, can I show you what I'm most proudest of?
Oh, her orphanage, right?
She established the
orphanage,
first private orphanage in New York City. Yeah.
So was that a big deal?
It was the first one in New York City, and it's just amazing because Hamilton, I mean, he was an orphan. Yeah, he was an orphan, and so that's why she's so proud, because she tells him, like, I saw so many of them, I saw you in them, and so. And
she was pretty like influential. She had a lot of money, right? Came from money, which is the thing. So that's really cool.
And the thing is, for a Treasury Secretary, he didn't save a lot of money for them.
Okay.
He used a lot of money, and so after he died, he didn't leave them with anything. So Eliza had to go back to her dad and ask her for money. So he gave her the money, and that's what she used to survive for the rest of her life because of her dad, not Hamilton. Yeah. Which is kind of ironic, because he was the first U.S.
Treasurer wasn't good with money.
Treasury
Secretary was not so good with money.
And he was in the sense of a big picture, but not personal, not personally.
I was reading in the footnotes that it was really sad. The last song was supposed to be really sad because he chose to end it with Eliza, but it's also like even more like on the side it said that they weren't even buried together, and she was really proud of that orphanage, even though he didn't get to see it because he died before, right? Did he?
Well, it was Angelica who wasn't buried with Hamilton because of how much he adored her. Well, they adored each other.
They were buried
together? No, Angelica was buried near Hamilton, but not with him. So
that's good,
because of how much they.
I wouldn't bury her next to Pablo either.
Come on, you need to bury your Sancha next to her.
No.
Yeah.
Don't you think about it.
Practice.
No.
Okay. Number 8. There is a little shout out. This is also very popular, famous in history. What is the name of Thomas Jefferson's mistress? I don't know. Mistress is the right word.
She was black.
She was his slave, yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Did they say it in the play or no?
There was a one-word shout-out in that song, What Did I Miss? As soon as he puts his back down, he says, Sally, be a lamb, can you fetch fetch that letter in the table? And so
Sally.
I just gave up the name, but yes.
Good job.
Sally.
No, I didn't catch it. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's a shout-out to Sally Hemings. They were in a relationship for 37 years. He fathered up to 6, it's not known for sure, but up to 6 of her children. So yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know if mistress is a good word.
There's Sanchas everywhere. I'm telling you, like this whole play was Sancho focused.
That's the true meaning behind Alexander
Sancho
Hamilton.
focused.
No, it's funny you mentioned that, and there's a movie called I think Scary Movie 2, and I think they're at the Thomas Jefferson School. And it's him with like a whole bunch of like black kids, which is really funny. So now I get it. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, so up to 6. So it's, I mean, that's a lot. Okay. Okay, number 9. Okay, so this happened in the first half of the book, but name 2 of the 3 of Hamilton's BFFs in the play.
2 of the 3. So you got Lafayette. Is that one of the BFFs?
Yeah.
Then you got...
I mean, I don't think BFFs is a correct term, but they're BFFs.
Washington? Would he be one of them?
No.
You could kind of say Burr was a frenemy, you know? Okay, never mind. You got... I don't know. Would the Hercules Mulligan guy? Because I know there's like a drinking song.
Yeah, so there were BFFs. So the 3 that
and they're good with what? With the ladies? Is that what the song?
They're reliable with the ladies.
There you go. That was cool.
So the 3 that I would have given the points to is Marquis de Lafayette, John Lawrence, or Hercules Mulligan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good Hercules. Job. That's a great name.
Hercules
Mulligan.
Yeah. Okay, number 10, the last one. So this was just because it's such a cute line in the play that I think he just says it's so cute. So Hamilton was chosen for the Constitutional Convention. What state was he a junior delegate of, or what was he representing? What state?
I'm gonna say New York.
New York.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is it? The song? What's that song?
Well,
Can't remember.
yeah,
Like the whole
even
thing.
even in the whole song, there,
So-
New York, in New York, you can be a.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the problem with me, I listened to a lot of this, so I didn't see the names of the songs, so that's a hard thing. I can't put the name with the song. Yeah, but yeah, really cool.
So good job, guys.
All right.
A
All
plus.
right.
Yeah, y'all did great.
Did
Yeah,
you get
pretty
thumbs
good
up?
job.
Did you get
Thumbs up.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Thumbs
I
up.
was beginning to think she had those 3 pages
I was
full
like,
of questions.
okay,
No.
number 29.
No, I did this one just in case y'all wanted to do it, but I mean, you don't have to.
Oh my God, you do. Show them. The other
She's not
side. The other
kidding.
side.
She's
Second
for
round.
real.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay, quotes. What's
this
up?
one is quotes, so I wanted to
Okay.
do like a finish the lyric to see, but
Ooh, okay.
Oh, she really wants
Try
to
a couple of
test
them.
us.
do you want to do a couple of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so you haven't met him yet. You haven't had the chance because he's been kicking expletive as the ambassador to
France.
a lot of these. I chose the ones that were rhyming, so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can figure it out. I think.
It's Thomas Jefferson.
Okay,
right
yeah. Virginia, my home sweet home. I want to give you a
Cone?
a cone. Like ice cream.
It rhymes.
No, it's rhyme. It's kiss.
Oh, that's what I
Um,
thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that
Bad
the word, what did I
clue.
miss? Is it
Yeah,
kiss?
so it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So these are wise words, enterprising, men quote them. Don't act surprised, you guys, because...
I wrote him.
Yeah!
Yeah. That's a good
I
one.
totally
Yeah.
guessed.
But
I wrote
it
'em.
works.
Yeah.
They rhyme.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you not get it? If we're aggressive and competitive, the union gets a boost. You'd rather give it a...
Sedative.
Yes!
Wow. Not fair. She just listened to this.
So good!
I totally went by the rhyme.
So, yeah. Okay. You're not joining us. Wait. I'm afraid I cannot join you.
In Kuwait.
In Kuwait. Yep, in Kuwait.
In Kuwait, yeah.
Didn't work.
What was it?
Upstate.
Upstate. Okay. Kuwait.
Okay. I wish I could say that was the last time. I said that last time. It became a...
Say it again.
I wish I could say that was the last time. I said that last time. It became a
Don't know.
pastime.
I'm not
Okay.
so good at the rhymes.
Okay. Should we this is one of my favorite lines of the entire play because it's hilarious. Should we honor our treaty, King Louis's head? Do whatever you want. I'm super dead.
Oh, that was really cool. That was
so
cool.
good. I love how he says it. Okay.
Who said that?
Hamilton says
Hamilton
that.
says
It was
that.
during cabinet battle number 2.
Ah, okay.
So
That's
it's when
right.
they were trying to
Oh,
convince
to see if they were gonna go
if they were
intervene.
going to give France, they
help
were
France
going to aid
out.
France. Yeah.
That was really sad too. It's like you had Lafayette was really cool in the
Yeah.
whole play, and then they didn't want to support and
Yeah.
help.
I know,
turn their
the
back
way it
on
turns
him.
around. I
Yeah.
know. Okay, so who lives, who dies?
Oh man, that's super. Who lives? Who dies? Who? That's like super. That's in the whole.
In the whole
I know.
play.
I can't remember.
Tells your story.
Tells your story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The last song.
The last song.
Du-du-du.
Yeah. Okay. Every other founding father's story gets told.
Mhm.
Every other founding father gets to grow.
Old.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Everything is
That's
legal in.
New Jersey. I read that was just like a little inside
Yeah, just
joke.
a funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Immigrants.
They get the job done.
We get the job.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
We get half a point.
Half a point.
Okay. Go home, Alexander. That's an order from your.
Commander.
Man, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
The code word is. That one doesn't rhyme, but I love it. Rochambeau. Okay. No.
Nope. Is that in the play?
Not
Yes,
even.
it's in the
It's
play.
not even close.
Okay, there's 2 more, you guys.
You're supposed
So
to
fight.
sing them. It's not fair if you don't like.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
connect them.
You think I'm frightened of you, man? We almost died in the trench while you were off.
In
With
France.
Sancha.
With Sancha.
In France again?
Does France rhyme with trench?
Kind of.
French.
Bench.
While you were off getting high with the French.
Ah.
Yeah.
So it was French.
Yeah, but you said France.
Oh, my bad.
In French.
France doesn't rhyme with trench.
No,
Okay.
kind of.
So last one. We're gonna teach them how to say goodbye.
Oh, you didn't sing it. That's why.
I love when you were rapping that other part.
Oh my god! I know.
You were like.
So you guys did good.
Yeah,
Good job, you guys.
It was really
That was
good.
fun.
Thumbs up.
All right. Good job.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really cool. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think everyone is bored with my history.
That was
I think everyone is okay.
that was
You know,
really cool.
I want to go back to Washington D.C. now and like listen to this as
While
I'm like
you're
on
there.
Lafayette Square and the Thomas Jefferson Memorial.
These are
and-
real people. What the
Like where were they at?
These are-
Because I
what?
remember our professors talking about him, but like, and I knew about the mistress or Thomas Jefferson's mistress, but like now it's like, whoa, and now we
Yeah.
listen.
Kind of
Well, I
opens
don't
it
know
up.
if we can call her.
Real
I don't know
visual.
if the correct term is mistress because they were together after Thomas Jefferson's wife
Yeah.
died.
Mhm.
So I don't know what the correct term is, but I mean,
Like all these characters are just alive.
yeah,
I wanna
they're
see the
real-
play.
They're real. They
Yeah,
were
that'd be
real
really
people.
cool.
Let's go see
And that's
the
one
play.
thing I guess I guess we should have mentioned it. We have not seen the play.
Neither of us have seen the play.
Yeah, this is.
Oh,
But what really helped was, actually, on YouTube there's some snippets and you can kind of see who these people are. I think they performed. Not I think they performed for the president, and which is really cool. That was a cool performance right there. They sound awesome.
Well,
you
that
know?
was that's another fun fact. 7 years ago, he was supposed to. He being Lin-Manuel Miranda, he was supposed to go perform for the president in this like poets meeting type thing. So like poets or writers from across the nation were gonna go to this thing. This is in 2008. So he was 2008 or 2009, one of those. So he had just been elected president.
Mhm.
So he was hearing from all these writers and stuff. And so he was gonna go perform, and he was originally supposed to perform a song from his other Broadway musical, In the Heights.
Mhm.
But while he was there, he just saw the history and he saw everything. And so last minute change, like he went to the piano player. He's like, we're gonna play something else. So he played Alexander Hamilton.
Oh really?
So that was the first performance ever, and Obama got to hear it, and so
Obama wanted more.
Obama wanted more. Write me a play, son.
Write me a place. Don't call me son.
Make it
Son,
happen.
yeah.
Make it happen, son.
Yeah,
Deuce.
so yeah, and then 7 years later, Obama went to when during the actual play, and he actually saw it multiple times. I think he's seen it about 3 times.
That's
he
really cool.
loves it, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the humor. I think when the president was talking, saying, he was quoting it here and there, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see.
Yeah.
I got to the party a little late, but I'm glad I did. It was really, really enjoyable. It opened up my eyes to other musicals. So any recommendations, if you can, I know calling out for this, leave in the comments below if anybody is watching this.
Anybody.
And Melinda, yes, please leave some more recommendations in the comments. And same thing, any thoughts?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing the play, watching the play.
Yeah.
Like it'd be pretty cool to go to San Antonio, all of us, road trip and
So
do that.
how long does it take for them to come down to like in our area?
It's gonna take a while.
Okay.
They just
It's gonna be the
because
second.
it's
casting,
a
right?
lot of it's that they just they just opened the Chicago one.
Yeah.
Just I mean like within the
so-
last like 2 weeks
Yeah.
they just opened it. They did the first showing after it had been it's been in Broadway for a year. It's been off Broadway for about 2 years or maybe 1 year I believe. So it's been out for a while, but it's gonna take a while to actually do.
Oh.
But they're planning as we speak. They're planning a cross country tour. Yeah. So I mean it's in the future. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd go watch it.
yeah, we'll watch it then.
That'd
Very
be
cool. So, and that's about it. We're gonna wrap it up. So, again, leave any comments, any thing you want to add in the comments below. Also, you can find us on our tweet at us at our here. Maybe I don't know where the thing will be, but yeah, maybe it depends where it's at. So just find us there. I'm Jim Zavala. You can find me on Twitter at JimZ3.
I'm Claudia. You can find me or tag me or tweet me at Claudia V. Lemus. Right?
Melinda at Melinda Line.
Great. So thanks for joining us, and we had a great time. Hopefully you enjoyed our talk about Alexander Hamilton.
History. So good.
Awesome. History is pretty cool. Maybe we can learn something from it.
History has its eyes on you, Jim.
I don't remember
History
that. Oh,
has its
yes,
eyes.
I remember that.
You just
So-
need my voice to jog your memory.
Exactly. So thanks for joining us again, and have a great day, night.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so it's done.
Awesome.
I think I was like grabbing my mustache, like the ending.
I didn't
was
stop
like,
recording yet. So.
Yes, you did.
That's for the bloopers.